Hello, everyone. I am here to talk about the Lions-Vikings game that will happen this Sunday. And offensively, Detroit is 16th in total offense, averaging 373.4 yards a game, 15th in passing yards at 263.9. They are tied for 8th in sacks allowed with only 13, and 16th in rushing yards with 109.7, and tied to 8th in yards per carry at 4.7. Now that's something that we're not always used to seeing from Detroit. They usually can't really get that thing going, but they got on Johnson, he's a good rookie, and he's doing well. He's doing well for him. And they are 12th in their third down conversion percentage at 42%, and they are tied for 17th in points a game at 24.4. Defensively, they are 14th in total defense, allowing 367.7 yards a game, 7th in passing yards allowed at 223.1 yards allowed. They are tied for 6th in sacks with 23 of them. And they are 31st in rushing yards allowed, allowing 144.6 yards, tied for 30th in yards per carry allowed at 5.1. And 17th in third down conversions at 39%, 25th in points allowed a game at 26.6. And the injury report goes as follow. Jalen Reeves-Maybin, he's a linebacker. He's doubtful with a neck/toe injury. Ezekiel Ansah, for the 800th time in a row, is questionable with a shoulder injury. TJ Lang, a guard, starting guard, he's questionable with a hip. Darius Slay, he's questionable with a knee, and he only had one limited practice all week. And he doesn't have an injury designation, but I wrote him down here just because I feel like it could be notable. Taylor Decker, he has a back injury. He doesn't have the injury designation, like I said, but that could end up being a thing. Offensively, Minnesota is 9th in total offense at 385.8 yards a game, 6th in passing yards at 298.6. They are tied for 24th in sacks allowed, allowing 23. Now they are 29th in rushing yards at 87.1, 25th in yards per carry at 4.0, and that 4.0 I think is more telling than their 87.1, hopefully, that's kind of the mark you look for these effective rushing games, and they're just barely making the cut at times. And 19th in third down conversions at 39%, tied for 14th in points a game at 24.6. Defensively, they are 10th in total defense, allowing 336.4 yards a game, 15th in passing yards allowed at 244.6. They are tied for 10th in sacks at 21. They are 5th in rushing yards allowed at 91.8, and tied for 4th in yards per carry allowed at 3.7. Now, on their third down conversion percentage defensively, they are first in the league at 26%, 15th in points per game allowed at 24.4, and that third down defense is the only thing we really didn't see drop off too much. And now this injury report is long. It's lengthy. Anthony Barr, hamstring, out. Tom Compton, guard, knee, out. Rock Thomas has a hamstring. He's out. Dalvin Cook has a hamstring, as we all know. He's questionable for this game. Diggs has a rib. He's questionable, but he didn't practice all week. Reef, foot, questionable. He was limited all week. Rhodes, questionable with an ankle, limited all week. Deho with the groin, limited all week with questionable. And Joseph still has the ankle and knee injury on the injury report, just no injury designation, but he was also limited all week. And now we get into the more fun part of the videos, which is I get to say what I think. And I think offensively, with Reef looking at a potential return since he was limited all week, I could see him returning this game. I say leave Brian O'Neill where he is. I think he's outplayed Rashad Hill in multiple ways. I think once we see him enter, like every time we see him come into the game, all of a sudden we can run. Probably not that much of a coincidence, but he can get on the edge with his athleticism. He can get down the field. He's a good second-level blocker. And as far as I could tell, outside of the times where you do see him getting overpowered sometimes, he is one of the better pass protectors on this team, I think. So he helps the run game a lot more. He's one of the better pass protectors. Just because he's a rookie, I wouldn't put him back on the bench. I think he's earned his spot at the starting spot at right tackle. I think you send Rashad Hill back to the bench, being the swing tackle where he belongs. Now, here's going back to Dalvin Cook and his questionable. Uh, it's been reported that he will see limited action for this game, that he will see some time. I am not for the idea of playing Dalvin Cook this game, mostly just because Latavius Murray has played great so far these past 3 or 4 weeks, and we have a bye coming up right after this game. So why don't you just let him heal up during this bye week? That makes more sense to me. I wouldn't want to re-aggravate this thing because right out of the bye week we have a stretch of Chicago, Green Bay, New England, Seattle, and I would like to have Dalvin Cook for those games. I wouldn't want him going out there and re-aggravating this injury and then all of a sudden he's gone for another 5 weeks. So that's a little concerning to me. And I know Diggs didn't practice this week and he has the questionable designation on him, but I would consider him more doubtful just because he didn't practice all week. I would be surprised if he plays, and I don't, once again, just because we have the bye coming up and it looks like they might be without Darius Slay, and even if they are with Darius Slay, he's going to be banged up a bit, and you still got Adam Thielen. So maybe you also wouldn't play Diggs just as a precautionary thing. And yeah, but now back to actual game stuff, I guess, which we should be able to run the ball on them regardless, which 144.6 yards a game. We kind of saw a similar stat line with the Arizona Cardinals, and what ended up happening was we got 195 yards rushing total, and Murray went for 155. And yeah, but if Dalvin Cook is anywhere near as ready as they think he is, maybe that is better. I still don't think we should play him though. And but like I said, going back to Slay, if he does play, he's gonna be banged up. So we should still be able to hit him with play action shots, whether he's there or not there at all. Because I think we can all agree, by far, Darius Slay is their best defensive back. Correct? And it's hard for me to imagine that a corner they have, not named Darius Slay, can cover Adam Thielen. And you need to protect Cousins. I know this is kind of like an every week thing, but like you need to protect Cousins. Detroit is sixth in sacks with 23 of them. Minnesota has allowed 23 sacks on the year. That ranks in the bottom half of the league, and that's not good. You need to protect the investment. And defensively, injuries. We could be getting Dejo and Rhodes back. That's a big boost to the secondary right after, because we did lose Mike Hughes for the year. And I think Holton Hill playing well the past, 2 weeks has helped a lot. And I don't know, but Holton Hill's no Xavier Rhodes, though. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. So them getting back, though, big for the secondary as far as even just depth goes, because I think you can make the argument, like, is there really much of a difference between what they've been doing at safety and with Sendejo back there? I'm not entirely sure. But I think... And then Lang is also questionable for this game with a hip. And then, like I said, Taylor Decker doesn't have an injury designation, but he did have a back injury and popped up on the injury report. And I think that's kind of vital to mention just because back injuries are those are messy, especially for linemen of any form. So you might be able to take advantage with those. And as Everson Griffin's kind of like knocking off some rust, you still have Weatherly, who's been a nice player so far. In his absence and even last week, I thought he played okay. So you have a nice little rotation there, whether it's the combination of Weatherly and Griffin or just Danielle Hunter on him. I think that could be something you could really take advantage of, which kind of goes into my other takeaway here, which is you need to take away Kerryon Johnson and this effective running game that the Lions have built. And I think if they are at least hurting a little bit on the offensive line, with their two of their better players, I would think, along that front line, hurts to some degree. I think they have a chance to kind of blow this up a little bit. And I think you need to make them throw. They did just get rid of Golden Tate, and I do know Kenny Galladay is a guy. He's a threat, but I do think it would have been much more of a threat if you had all three of them. And if you're getting Xavier Rhodes back, then maybe you have a much better chance of covering these guys. Especially since we're kind of struggling in the nickel. The main spot where they would play Golden Tate is in the nickel. So, oh, the slot. My bad. And special teams. Once again, every week we kind of go through this whole thing. Dan Bailey, please make the kicks. That's all we want. That's all we want, Danny. And the other thing I have here for special teams, which is just take the touchbacks. It feels like every time they try to return it, that there's some kind of penalty, whether it's a clipping or a holding or a whatnot. Like it just feels like no, just take touchbacks. I'll start out at the 25 and we'll take our chances. And my prediction is Minnesota will win this game 27-24, which I think it will be close. It's a division game, and even in the numbers, you would think it would be close because the exact amount of points Detroit averages is the exact amount of points Minnesota on average gives up at 24.4, and Minnesota gets 24.6 a game, and they give up 26.6 a game. So I think even by the numbers standpoint, this works. And yeah, tell me what you guys think down below in the comment section. And until next time, I bid y'all adieu.